So these are some deeper questions that we explored to make people understand what is Bitcoin trying to solve, right? People feel that Bitcoin is a solution looking for a problem, but people do not understand the problem is staring them in the face. They are constantly trying to fight with this problem, and they're just not able to connect the two, right? So now we come to a section where we basically tell people that okay, if they are feeling that Bitcoin is a product for them and they need to understand and start investing in this monetary revolution, then how do they do it safely, right? Because we obviously know that the cryptocurrency industry is full of scams and people get duped all the time, and they lose their money due to unsafe ways of storing their money in terms of cryptocurrency. And that is why it is important to understand how to invest safely and how to store your Bitcoin safely, right? So again, first thing, it's a reminder for people that they need to understand that Bitcoin is very different from cryptocurrencies. If you want to revise this concept, you can go back to our earlier slide and you can see where we explain how these two are fundamentally different, right? So that is where I say that Bitcoin is essentially a low risk product, whereas cryptocurrencies are very high risk products. So there's a fundamental differentiation between these two that they
So
need to remember.
people as well as the mainstream media get this conflated, and it has changed. The word of quote unquote crypto has changed over the time. Crypto is probably a short form for cryptography, and people have associated with cryptocurrencies. So there is a disconnect in the minds of people, and everything is loosely used. And since Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, people have associated that with everything else. So if you look at the mainstream marketing also, if they want to talk about some stupid altcoin, they put Bitcoin's picture on forefront and talk about the altcoin using the same promises and whatever Bitcoin offers. So that is annoying to a great extent, and people need to differentiate between the two, and they need to ask questions. They need to figure out, okay, what is the difference? What are you talking about? Which cryptocurrency are you talking about? And is that same as Bitcoin? What is the difference? So as simple as you going to the market and evaluating two products, do that same thing for here also, and then you will understand the difference of where the value lies, and then you can take calls. Yeah.
Yeah. Very well understand. Very well said, Nihal. I think this is what is the effort that we are trying to put in this space. We are trying to make people understand and create awareness that Bitcoin is fundamentally different from other cryptocurrencies. And I think this will be fruitful because people do learn from experience, right? They learn from pain. So when they have taken a bad decision, they understand that okay, this decision was not right, and then they analyze deeper why this decision was not right, and that's where they stumble upon the truth, and then they are in a better direction for the future, and that is what is happening with this industry as well, right? So next thing that people need to understand that Bitcoin should or cryptocurrency, we can take this concept to a broader aspect of cryptocurrency as well. That cryptocurrency should not be compared or conflated with stocks, right? Because stocks are available on stock exchange or stock brokers, and cryptocurrencies are available on crypto exchanges or crypto brokers. But these are fundamentally different ways of doing things, right? So the best way of comparison of cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin to legacy financial products is gold, right? Let's see how. So when you go to a jeweler and you buy a jewelry or a gold bar, you do not keep the gold bar or the jewelry with the jeweler, right? You take it home and you store it safely in your safe, right? In the same way, when you buy Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrency for that matter from any of these cryptocurrency exchanges, your your process is not complete. You need to withdraw that cryptocurrency from the exchange, and you need to store it safely either in a software wallet which is freely available or in a hardware wallet which you have to pay for. But it's a way more secure way of storing your cryptocurrency as compared to cryptocurrency exchanges for that matter. Like if you're investing large sums, it makes sense to even invest a small amount in the safekeeping of your cryptocurrency, right? So that is the fundamental difference when you compare cryptocurrencies to stocks, which should not be done. It should be compared to gold, right? And here is one more slide where this brings out very beautifully that all these stock brokers or stock exchanges, they are being regulated by a central authority which is called the SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, right? So they are answerable to this regulatory authority, right? So let's say tomorrow any of these brokers closes down, your money is not gone, your investments are not gone. SEBI will direct them to help you transfer your investments, your stocks, to some other broker account, so that your savings or investments are secure, nothing happens to them, and in an orderly fashion, that broker can shut down because of whatever business reasons that he has to shut down, right? So it does not affect your savings or your investments. But that is not the case with cryptocurrency exchanges. Cryptocurrency exchanges are not regulated by any central authority. So tomorrow if they shut down, your money is gone, because there is no central authority which will make them do the right thing, right? So you need to be careful about your investments, and you need to withdraw them in a timely manner and store them safely if you are investing with these exchanges, right?
Yeah, to
And
add
these are,
to what you said,
yeah,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
There have been, like in the recent past, few months ago, there have been guidelines issued by RBI as well, that every cryptocurrency needs to adhere to something called an FIU, Financial Intelligence Unit, to prevent AML and you know uh,
Mhm.
practices. That has been done in the like last 2 3 months. Is something which has been
Mhm.
added, so it's not completely unregulated, I'd say. And in terms of the world, like if you're comparing it with other countries, India is on the forefront in terms of heavily regulating this market, and they want complete control. And when you, if you check the previous slide, when you say you can save your, take out your currencies and coins from the exchange, not many exchanges let you do that here in India. That is one thing to point out as well. There are very few among the things which you've pointed out. There are probably two or three which let you take out the actual cryptocurrency and store it in your hardware wallet. So that's something I wanted
Yeah,
to highlight
definitely.
as
So
well.
that is also, yeah, so that it is also a key step in awareness, that people need to be aware if they're able to withdraw their cryptocurrency from the exchange, and if they are not, probably they should find another cryptocurrency exchange where they can withdraw safely, right? Because if a
True.
jeweler comes and tells you that you cannot take your jewelry with you, then you'll probably not invest with that jeweler, right? That
Yeah.
is the same thing that's happening here.
Sure.
Yeah, so moving on, there are a lot of hardware and software wallet options which people can explore and understand if they do a very basic search on, let's say, YouTube or Google. There are a lot many options available, and they can do their research and easily find out what are the best options for them. Or I think even Nihal can help you in this aspect. Because we constantly discuss about Bitcoin and its related aspects here in this channel. So we can take up the discussion maybe later. But basically, what I'm trying to point out is that there are many options available, so you don't have to rely on the exchange that you're investing in, right? Another key point that people constantly keep on asking me is, if Bitcoin is very cyclical, what is the best time to buy, right? And I constantly keep on telling people that no one can catch the tops and bottoms of any market, right? And if they're telling you that they are trying to catch the tops and bottoms and they're successful, then they are probably trying to fool you, because it is not possible. Market is distillation of participation from lakhs and lakhs of investors, right? So no one can understand how people will behave in the future. So it is very difficult to catch the top and bottom of a market, right? And that is why you should not time the market. I think this is also a very key concept whenever you are investing in equities as well, that you should not time the market, but you should see how much amount of time you are invested in the market, right? And the best approach to do investments is to do systematic investments, right? Systematically invest some amount every week or every month into Bitcoin, and then see the returns materializing over a long enough period of time, and you will definitely realize that the Bitcoins are far superior as compared to any other asset. But the best way to do this is investing systematically, right? Again, this is a reminder that Bitcoin is very volatile in the short term, so you should not try to time the market, because suppose if you invest at this point of time, and let's say tomorrow Bitcoin crashes 50%, which can happen, right? Because Bitcoin is volatile. You would say that, okay, oh, I invested at the wrong time, right? So
Yeah.
the best approach is to keep on investing every week or every month, so that you can use each and every exchange rate available for Bitcoin in terms of your local currency, right?
You see this currently happening as well, as in like
Yeah.
at the time of recording, Bitcoin's price is around $60,000.
Yeah.
and couple of days ago it was $70,000. So people look at this and they get scared, and because this is not equivalent to your traditional markets, you don't see a 5% dip, 7%
Yeah.
dip in such a short time. So yeah,
Yeah.
SIP, as Varun said, is one of the options which will help you counter the volatility in the long term.
Yeah. So this is a very basic comparison that I have done when I'm trying to compare the returns offered by Bitcoin as compared to any other financial products, right? And why am I doing this comparison? Again, Nihal, I think we have discussed that investment products. So let's say equities, right? Equities are supposed to be the best investment products because they offer the best returns as compared to any other investment product. And for equities, the standard benchmark is the index. Index is the key largest companies which are trading on the stock exchange, right? So in Indian context, that is the Nifty 50 index. So Nifty 50 index is the 50 largest companies that are trading on the national stock exchange, right? So that is your benchmark. If so everyone knows which are the 50 biggest companies, and everyone can invest in the 50 biggest companies at zero cost, right? Because it does not take any cost. You just do a Google search, you find out the companies, and you can invest in it, right? There are funds which offer you index, Nifty 50 index, to be invested in. But as I said, it does not take any effort to know what are the 50 largest companies, and that is why the management fee that these index funds take from you is the lowest when you compare it to any other mutual fund, right? So this is the cheapest option of investing in equities, right? So that should be the benchmark that you compare with, right? So if any mutual fund does not offer returns better than Nifty 50, then you should not invest with that mutual fund, because essentially they would be taking higher management fee from you for lower returns, which does not make sense, right? So Nifty 50 should be the benchmark of measuring what kind of returns you are getting with your investment products, right? So I'm also using that same kind of benchmark because obviously for cryptocurrency it's a new concept, so we do not have a benchmark, right? And if there was a benchmark, it should be Bitcoin, right? And if you look at all of the cryptocurrencies, because we believe that they do not have a fundamental use case and they do not have any basis for surviving in the long term, so we are not sure how else to compare Bitcoin. So since we are comparing to other investment products, I'll rather compare it to the best available benchmark in the industry, which is Nifty 50, right? So let's say you invest 1 lakh at the start of 2017 in Nifty 50, right?
Mhm.
So what would be the kind of returns that you would get if you start tweaking your portfolio and investing a little bit in Bitcoin, right? So with 0% Bitcoin, 100% of your 1 lakh invested in Nifty 50, you will get like a 15% return by the end of 2023, right? So this is like a 6 year period, 2020 2023, and this will offer you 15% of returns yearly, right? With 0% Bitcoin. Now, if we tweak this a little bit and we just put 1% Bitcoin, so out of 1 lakh, 1,000 in investment in Bitcoin and 99,000 still invested in Nifty 50, your returns will increase to 18%, right? If you tweak it more, if you invest 5% in Bitcoin, your returns will go to 26%. And if you tweak it to 10% in Bitcoin, your returns will go up to 33%, right? So the key aspect to understand is that Bitcoin is so powerful tool that it can double your returns even with a small allocation of 10% of your portfolio, right? And that is why I say that no one should ignore Bitcoin. Everyone should at least invest a small amount where it helps them digest the volatility, but at the same time it helps boost the returns of their current portfolio as well, right?
True.
So this is the final segment of our presentation, where people constantly keep on asking me, fine, Bitcoin might have given some returns in the past, but what is the guarantee that Bitcoin will still give those kind of returns, right? So these are very broad price predictions that Bitcoin can offer, because we believe that it's a fundamental innovation in the field of money and finance, and that is why we see this happening sometime in the future, and that is why these are some broad level predictions, right? So this is a very basic comparison of Bitcoin as an asset as compared to all other asset classes, right? So as you can see, Bitcoin is a tiny dot or a tiny bar at the left corner, left topmost corner of the graph. So you can see that Bitcoin is roughly at the size of $1 trillion at the time of this discussion. Gold is roughly around 12 trillion, art 18 trillion, equities 115, real estate 330, bonds 300 trillion, money circulating is like 120 trillion right now in the world, right? So let's say Bitcoin graduates, become larger, and occupies some portion of this market. right? It takes a larger market share from these products. What will be the Bitcoin price which will look like, right? So here, what we can see is that Bitcoin at this point of time is roughly 55 lakhs. It might have gone a little lower because of the recent price fluctuation, but this is where we see it right now, hovering around 55 lakhs. And let's say if Bitcoin captures the market, which is the size of the gold market, it will go up by 12 times, right? And if it captures the market, which is equivalent to the size of stocks, it will go by 115 times, right? If it captures the market, which is the size of money circulating, it will go by 120 times. And if it goes to the size of real estate, it will go up by 330 times, right? And this is just looking at individual assets. If we club all these assets, the the price prediction will be way more, right? And that is where I tell people, these are not percentages, these are times. Bitcoin will go up by 12 times and then 15 times, right? So this is huge price movements that we can see in the future happening for Bitcoin. So even if you invest a small amount, you will see huge returns in the future. And that is why I think everyone should start exploring this asset class and start putting their money little bit, and then start exploring and studying as well why this is important, why this is a critical innovation, and why this is going to change the future in a fundamental manner, right?
Yeah,
And I think that is where we end our presentation, Nihal. These are my contact details. Let me know if
awesome.
you have any questions.
Great. Thanks, Varun. I think we've covered it to a great deal. And I think the audience has a broad understanding of what Bitcoin is, and the various topics that you touched upon, and you got your expertise and your background, which is in the traditional finance sector, and you've explained on why money is important and what has happened to it over the last few years, which people in general are aware of because for various reasons you are so busy honing your craft, your personal craft, that you do not tend to look at what's happening around you, your policies which are being formed, which affect you on a micro level, on a day-to-day basis. And it's so scattered over the period of time that people don't realize how much they're losing. So they're looking at immediate gains. हाँ, okay, 6 महीने में कितना मिलेगा, 1 साल में कितना मिलेगा, what will happen if I keep. But what has happened is it's become so perverted, the system, that you have lost track of what is actually valuable, and how do you evaluate things, and what is the yardstick, what is the measuring stick on which consider, okay, fine, this much effort I'm putting as a human resource, and this much I'm supposed to get out of it. This has been completely muddled over the past few years, as in 50 years, 70 years, 100 years. That's the time range I'm looking at, not 1 year or 2 years, and not say 10 years also. uh, so all of these factors have contributed to a system which we do not want to be a part of, or which has affected it so much that we're looking for everyone, not just us. We're looking for alternatives beyond this. Okay, or kya hai? We're discovering that. And in that quest, something like a Bitcoin was formed 15 years ago. And a lot of obviously early innovators and stuff, they come from a technical background, and they have explored this over the years. So when you hear a person saying, okay, मैं Bitcoin में 2010 से हूँ, 2011 से हूँ, fine, they bought a major chunk maybe, and they sold it at the first instance they got, when they saw that like 15%, 50% बढ़ गया, 100% बढ़ गया. So what we are trying to achieve with this is that you understand what it means. You do a little reading, uh, watch this video, share it with your loved ones, or whoever you want to who want them to know about what this thing is. This is your starting point. After this, there is a bit of reading and a bit of viewing, a bit of research that you have to do by yourself. A minimum of 100 hours is required in this particular field, post which you will, ठीक है, I will allocate some portion, like Varun said, a small amount. It could be a very meager amount for you, which you might spend in your weekly sojourns. Like you go to a mall, you spend a few $100, a few $1,000, and the same thing you can do for this, which might not affect the quality of your life in any way. Post which, when you start learning, you get conviction about what this concept is, and that will help you, garner confidence कि ठीक है, after a point of time इतना portion allocate कर लो. That chart was brilliantly put, by the way, Warren. That comparison in terms of equities and what Bitcoin does over the last few 5 6 years, that gives a perspective
Yeah.
to anyone who wants to enter this, and even that allocation percentage on how vastly it can affect having 1 to 5 or 10% based on your appetite for risk. So risk reward is something that needs to be calculated at every point in life. Sure, I mean, if you're at a stage, say 55 60 year old, it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't make sense to you. Nobody can, tell ki nahi, you need to take that much risk. That's up to you. But please be aware is what we are trying to say. Okay, there is something like this. It has been in existence for the last 15 years. It is not going anywhere. People are trying to, control it in many forms. But again, it's a money, a form of money which is uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And that is why people are trying to severely regulate it. And we will see that happen over the course of next few years, where extreme regulation and is going to be done, and it's going to be forced back into the traditional finance system. This was supposed to be a means which was supposed to be a way and an alternative to the traditional financial banking system. But again, if you're aware of what is the pros and cons, then you'll make a informed decision on what needs to be done. Anything to be added, Varun? Did I miss something in terms of concluding it?
No, no, you summed up perfectly, Nihal. I think, uh, as I was trying to say, people are aware what the problem is, but people are not able to connect what the
Right.
problem is, what the cause is, and what can be the solution, right? And that the connection, the bridges are what we are trying to make, right? We are trying to make people aware that this is something that they already know, but they are not able to figure out somehow because, as you said, they are busy with their day-to-day activities, right? So not everyone is very well versed with finance and investments, and people
True.
do not need to be. That is the core concept that we are trying to address here. But at the same point of time, because we are in this situation, we do need to get out of it, and to get out of it, we do need to have some bit of awareness, which is what Bitcoin is trying to create, and we are trying to create through Bitcoin, right? So people need to take their savings, their investments in their own hands. People need to understand what are the best strategies for them, and by going through this kind of an analysis, they need to make sure that they are investing in the right products or in the right direction, so that they are not losing out in the future, right? Because as we discussed, if Bitcoin goes where we think it goes,
Yeah.
then people would feel that they have missed the bus, and that is what we do not want people to do, right? We want people to do some amount of very basic amount of research at this point of time, so that later on they do not feel that they have missed the bus. I
True.
hope people do that, and we'll definitely be happy to answer any questions that your viewers might have after
Sure.
going through this presentation, right?
Absolutely. Uh,
Yeah,
these are the contact channels for Varun, and obviously you can reach me on my channel as well, and on Twitter and stuff. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now, and we hope you like this short series, and we'll try and come up more of these if you are interested, and if you have any feedback, please let us know in the comments. And yeah, now we hope to bring more such series in specific terms, like in specific contexts as well, like when you are discussing about Keynesian or Austrian economics. Maybe we'll touch upon those topics later as well, in probably a one episode or two episode thing. But yeah, it was great talking to you, Varun. This was a insightful session and very well made presentation, I'd say. And I hope this gives clarity to a lot of people who want to enter this field.
definitely. Let's hope so. Thank you so much, Nihal, for giving me this platform.
Anytime,
Yeah,
man. And I hope we'll keep in touch and record a
definitely.
few more insightful sessions in future.
Definitely. It's always fun to talk about money for me.
Of course it is. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.